So somebody asked me they bought a regular model and a junior model for their child, and they said, really, how should you start out? And I'm sure I've done videos on this before, but I'll just kind of to review, to give somebody a basic idea. So here's what I would do. I think this is actually important to start right away. This is built to be motion first rather than position and grip and all those things, but those things are built into it. So first thing I would do is have your child or yourself as an adult, it's really not any different. You're building a swing from scratch here. So turn your elbows this way and then take this in your fingers. That's the first thing. So now you've got proper arm position, you've got a grip that's in your fingers that you can then translate right to a club, and your hand position is already basically correct for a club, except that it's separated, which makes it, you're able to move something heavy like this. If it was right together, this thing would be completely unwieldy. So the separation is meant to replicate really something closer to the feel of the club and how you would work your hands, even though it doesn't look like it. So your hands are oppositional, like they would be on the club. And then what you want to do is just start with, I think the easiest thing to start with to get the feeling of this is a little stepping motion like this. So a little stepping motion, so that the step is the move that sort of throws this back on plane, and then that step is also your braking move. So you want to get a little feeling of that, and then you can let this hinge, and then as you work with it, you can just work with it straight up like this. Just have your kid or yourself or anybody starting out just do this little move, and then get yourself a club and exactly replicate that feel of that little step, 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 step. And now this is critical. Just let this move through the ball, so don't add any hitting into it. That's the thing you're learning, is to drive this with your body. And then if at the very end your body moves are all good, you can add hit into a shot. There's nothing wrong with that. You just don't want to make that be independent of a body-driven swing. So start with a more passive thing. And then I'll just make that move through the ball. And just work on those little shots like that. And watch that if you're training a child, watch that they're not doing this. Right, so the move is staying centered. If you watch Ben Hogan's famous video about how the body works in the golf swing, he talks about the body going first, but watch what he's doing with his knees and his feet in that demonstration. You'll see that he's very much doing this and this. Heels are coming a little bit off the ground, and the knees are going like that. So that's what's driving, that's the fundamental motion of his swing, is driven by that. That's where he's building, that's what he's building his swing on. And then, of course, there's other motions that happen with the hands. So that's phase one, and just work on that. Don't worry about hitting it far, but just don't worry about anything, but don't attempt to hit it far, attempt to hit it cleanly in the right place, make good ground contact. And then when you want to start adding some power, you want to start with that motion, but now let the club or the trainer first lag a little bit. So still the same thing, but now I'm letting it lag a little bit and hinge a little bit. So it should feel like it goes this way and this way, this way and this way. So watch for that sequence. So this way, and then it releases. So back hinge, release there. So find that little motion. Now you're doing something more like this, where it's a little drag and a little bit later release. So stay with the stepping. So it gets a little trickier. So focus on the stepping first, and then, so you've got your stepping motion, then just let the hands just delay the hinging a little bit, like that. It's a little circular motion, sort of. So work on that and just build up from there. But that's the foundation. A good body motion is the foundation of your swing, and then you can work from that toward larger and larger swings. So it's still the same motion, it just gets bigger. So like that. But and then go back and forth with your trainer, and really the thing is feel what's happening with the trainer, and then be acutely aware of what you might be doing differently with the club, and make your club motion copy the trainer. So take more time in transition, let it fall a little bit, let it lag behind a little bit, which is also natural to do with something heavy. And this is a junior model, and I would say for anybody that, so even though this is a junior model, I could use this myself as long as I go toward a higher setting. And if somebody that's not terribly strong, it doesn't have to be for a child. A smaller woman could use a junior model. Even, you know, a big adult guy can use a junior model, and one advantage of it is it travels a lot easier than the full-size model. I do think for somebody that's strong and big, there's definitely an advantage to the full-size model, and that is that it's heavy enough that you can't manhandle it. Or you can, but you wear out so quickly. So if you start swinging this, you're going to more naturally use a good body-driven motion just because the weight makes you do it. But you can, especially after you were trained on this, you could travel around with a junior model, and you would still feel all the same things because you've sort of already overcome an impulse to want to move your arms independent of your body. So anyway, that's a way to start out, and then just keep building from there. And there's some, you know, I at some point intend to do a series of videos, maybe with somebody else, that kind of goes from like 10 steps of learning a golf swing, but I haven't gotten to that yet, so it's a little piecemeal. But really, if you can get that little fundamental motion, you have a lot, you've already captured a lot about creating a good golf swing, because you've already gotten rid of what, or maybe not gotten rid of it, hopefully you never had it, you've already gotten rid of this impulse that people always start with when they start doing golf. They want to go and hit the ball because it seems logical and you can lever this thing. So if you can bypass that right away, you're a long way to building a good golf swing that most people will never have because their fundamental impulse is wrong. So that's it.